Microphone check 1 2 1 2. We are live. Coming to you from Bakersfield, California. My name is Joseph, and switch over to this screen real quick first. I'm noticing my webcam is filtering me out a little bit more than I would like. That's why you do this. Huh. Maybe if I try moving this over here or something. Well, that's just freaking great. Anyway, you can see through me right here. Let me see if I can do something about that. But while I'm, no, not that. While I'm trying to take care of that small issue, how's everybody doing tonight? We are going to, there we go. Completely remove any purpose of why we would have okay, well, since it's not gonna work at all tonight, we'll just go without it. There we go. That's how we solve that issue. If it's not gonna work, we just, oh wait, I can't put my freaking keyboard down because I'm going to be trying out Undertale Red and Yellow. And one thing I noticed right off the bat is it does not have support, or doesn't seem to have support. It's not recognizing my controller. So when I say that I'm going to play Undertale poorly, you know, I say this half jokingly. I might actually play poorly tonight. I might actually play a really, really bad game of Undertale because I have to use the controller. So what we shall do here, we shall go to the live stream. Well, the whole stream is live stream. But what I'm saying is, go to game audio, game video, game audio and video, video and audio, audio, video, and audio. Let me move that down a little bit and switch over to these. There we go. And last but least, bring up the freaking game. So, I'm pretty familiar with Undertale. I've completed uh, just about every route you could take. We will be playing the pacifist route, which of course is the most popular and, dare I say, the canon way of playing the game. Dare I say, and I do, I dare. Okay. I noticed now it's not. Let me check. Doesn't seem to be sending freaking. Oh, here we go. I'm looking at the wrong one, that's why. I need to turn it down just a smidgen, actually. Okay. There we go. Alright. Wanna play a game? Let's play a game. I play a game. We will name the fallen human. Now, I'm, again, pretty familiar with the game, so we will give... You know what? Nah, hold on. Backspace. I actually kind of forgot the premise of the game. Or one of the premises of the game. So we will go with, I was going to go with the name Chara, but the problem is I'm going to do that anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. Because the true name, Chara, the true name. Alright, I have never played this with a keyboard, so I may very, very well actually play a very poor game of Undertale. Fortunately, it's not a ton of super quick motions that you gotta make. There are a couple battles that we probably won't come across because we're playing the pacifist route that would require it. As you walk, feet unsteady due to the fall, feel a peculiar thumping against your skull. It's not normal? Sounds like a conversation? So you think we're here because of them? So this must be Clover from Undertale Yellow. That is what I said. Chara. The red text gives that away. Right. So this would be the last, huh? It looks like they can hear us. Oh, howdy. No, you're not insane. That's debatable. We're just incorporeal. We've been out for a little while. You alright? I don't remember what alright feels like. You should keep moving. Someone up ahead should heal you. Okay. So it's basically Undertale, but it's with a few, with a number of extra interactions with the red and yellow souls, that being of Chara, and it is our best friend. Our best friend. Your best friend, my best friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Flowey the Flower. Howdy, I'm Flowey. Flowey the Flower. You're new to the underground, aren't ya? Golly, You must be so confused. Someone ought to teach you how things work around here. I guess little old me will have to do. Ready? Here we go. That's more of a Mario. I do notice we're already half HP. That's unusual. See that heart? That is your soul. The very culmination of your being. Let's bring these down a little bit. Your soul starts off weak, but can grow strong if you gain a lot of LV. What's LV stand for? Why, love, of course. You want some love, don't you? Mm-hmm. Don't worry, I'll share some with you. Down here, love is shared through little white friendliness pellets. Are you ready? Move around, get as many of them as you can. Fuck off, Chloe. Hey, buddy, you missed them. Let's try again, okay? Is this a joke? Are you brain dead? Run into the bullets! Friendliness pellets. You know what's going on here, don't you? You just wanted to see me suffer. Die! Huh? What a terrible creature, torturing a poor, innocent youth. Ah, do not be afraid, my child. I am Toriel, caretaker of the ruins. I pass through this place every day to see if anyone has fallen down. You are the first human to come here in a long time. Come, I will guide you through the catacombs. This way. Flowey, what happened to him? Perhaps he's always been like that. That can't be right. If he was, he wouldn't have... He called me his... The shadow of the ruins looms above, filling you with determination. HP fully restored. Save. Welcome to your new home, innocent one. Allow me to educate you in the operation of the ruins. The ruins are full of puzzles, ancient fusions between diversions and door keys. One must solve them to move from room to room. Please adjust yourself to the sight of them. Only the fearless may proceed. Brave ones, foolish ones, both walk not the middle road. I do! I step on all your fucking buttons. Make progress here. You will need to trigger several switches. Do not worry. I have labeled the ones you need to flip. Press Z to read signs. I will play for it. Stay on the path. Come on, press the switch on the left. Press the one on the right. No, no, no. You want to press the other switch. I even labeled it for you with all the arrows. No, no, no. But I want to play with this one. I want to play with this one. I want to play with this one like the last kid would. Splendid. I am proud of you, little one. Let us move to the next room. As a human living in the underground, monsters may attack you. You will need to be prepared for this situation. Where's my damn phone? My damn phone. However, worry not. The process is simple. When you encounter a monster, you will enter a fight. While you're in a fight, strike up a friendly conversation. Does that always work, right? Call for time. I will come to resolve the conflict. Practice talking to the dummy. Dummy! Wait, not yet. You encountered the dummy. Dot, 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 dot. Dummy looks like it's gonna fall over. Okay. They cut out. Okay, so. There you go. Dummy tires of your shenanigans. The fuck? Huh? The next room awaits. There is another puzzle in this room. I wonder if you can solve it. Rugged. Hey, I know this one. Rugged. Attack 4, defense 4. Life is difficult for this enemy. Fuck off, Rugged! 0 XP, 0 gold. The western room is the eastern room's. This is the puzzle, but here, take my hand for a moment. This entire first section is basically the original Undertale demo. I don't remember when 2013? 12 or 13, I'd have to go back and look. Puzzles seem a little too dangerous for now. I love how I'm facing back towards her. You've done excellently this far, my child. However, I have a difficult request to ask you. I would like you to walk to the end of the room by yourself. No! Forgive me for this. Oh damn, we can't go back. I always wondered if we can go back that way. Don't worry, partner. You have us by your side. It's a hallway. I doubt they need encouragement. You can now run with X. Chara dance, Chara dance. Does that work? No, okay. Pressing X actually cancels it out. Alright. Greetings, my child. Do not worry. I did not leave you. I was merely behind this pillar the whole time. Thank you for trusting me. However, there was an important reason for this exercise. To test your independence. I must attend to some business, and you must stay alone for a while. Please remain here. It's dangerous to explore by yourself. I have an idea. I will give you a cell phone. If you have a need for anything, just call. Be good, alright? Da-na-na-na. It's tutorial. You only wanted to say hello? Well then, hello. I hope that suffices. Tutorial. You want to know more about me? Well, I'm afraid there's not much to say. I'm just a silly little lady who worries too much. Look. Hello, this is Toriel. You have not left the room, have you? There are a few puzzles ahead I have yet to explain. It would be dangerous to try to solve them yourself. Be good, alright? Excuse me, human. I have some advice for you about battling monsters. If you act a certain way or fight until you almost defeat them, they might not want to battle you anymore. If a monster does not want to fight you, please use some mercy, human. Ribbit. It says, take one. Take a piece of candy? Yes, you took a piece of candy. Press C to open a menu. Take one. Take the candy. You took more candy. How disgusting. Take candy? You take another piece. You feel like scum of the earth. No, it says take one. It didn't say take one how many times. You took too much too fast. The candy spills onto the floor. Look at what you've done. You should be ashamed of yourself. Nothing wrong with a little self-indulgence. Right? That's what I'm saying. Playfully crinkling through the leaves fills you with determination. HP fully restored. So we now have 4 pieces of monster candy. Monster candy heals 10 HP, has a distinct non-licorice flavor. Whimsun approached meekly. These early characters like Whimsun, you can spare them immediately. Playing a pacifist route like this, no reason to even bother. Whimsun approached me. Now what if you did act? Check. Whimsun, attack 4, defense 0. This monster is too sensitive to fight. Forgive me. What a Christ. What a sad creature. That's all. Halfway through your first word, Whimsun bursts into tears and runs away. Hello, this is Toriel. For no reason in particular, which do you prefer? Cinnamon or butterscotch? Which do you prefer? Cinnamon myself, but because I know of a certain minor change here, I think it's this one. I'm gonna say butter. I like both. Oh, I see. Thank you very much. Hello, this is Toriel. You do not dislike cinnamon, do you? I know what your preference is, but would you turn up your nose if you found it on your plate? Right. I understand. Thank you for being so patient, by the way. I don't know why I said so patient. That's not what I said. 3 out of 4 Great Rocks recommend you push them. Whimsun approached me quickly. Fuck off, Whimsun. Just because you're sparing somebody doesn't mean you have to be nice about it, right? Okay, it's been a minute, I'm not gonna lie. 2 over, okay. See, it gives you the pattern right here. It even tells you, please don't step on the leaves. So I'm gonna step all over these mugs. Mold Small blocked away. Again, Mold Small, you spare them immediately. But I'm gonna walk all over the leaves because I'm an asshole. Now, it wants you to push the two and then push the bottom one. I don't know if they've changed this or not for this particular version, but normally you just have to push the bottom one. First, Rugged and Whimsun drew near. Rivet, rivet. Boing. Rugged doesn't seem to know why it's here. Rugged didn't understand what you said, but was flattered anyway. Blushes deeply, rivet. Boing. Rugged seems reluctant to fight. I've got better to do. I should have spared him actually, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll encounter another Rugged. Whoa there, partner. Who said you could push me around? So you're asking me to move over? Okay, just for you, Pumpkin. You want me to move some more? Alrighty, how's this? No. That was the wrong direction? Okay, I think I got it. Was that helpful? So, okay, so this version you do actually have to push all three. Alright. Regular Undertale, you actually only have to push one. Wait a minute. Oh, you have to go through this entire gimmick. You want me to stay there? Give me a real workout. Okay. See, normal Undertale, you push that one, and the spikes drop down. You go to walk towards them, rock moves, spikes come back up. Normal. Mold small blocked away. Mold small. Attack 4, defense 0. Stereotypical. Viciously attractive, but no brain. Sexy wiggle. Like a water dune bug. Dune bud. Not bad. Knowing the mouse might one day leave its hole and get the cheese, it fills you with determination. Squeak! 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 This cheese has been here quite a long time. It's stuck in the face. Are they gone yet? This ghost keeps saying Z out loud repeatedly, pretending to sleep. Move it with force. Naps the blue. Here comes Naps the Blue. And one of the early, really good themes. Attack 6, defense 4. This monster doesn't seem to have a sense of humor. Oh, I'm real funny. Okay. Okay. Getting to sleep. You gave Naps the Bloke a patient smile. Really not feeling up to it right now. Sorry. It be like that sometimes, you know? It bees like that. Sometimes you just ain't feeling up to it. You told Naps to look a little joke. Hearing seems to have improved Naps to look's mood. Naps to look wants to show you something. Let me try. Call it Dapper Blood. Do you like it? Snaps the book eagerly, waits your response. Oh no. I usually come to the ruins because there's nobody around. But today, I met somebody nice. Oh, I'm rambling again. I'll get out of your way. Just like that. Spider Big Sale. All proceeds go to real spiders. I don't know if we have any money. Leave 7G in the web? I mean, I normally would, but... Did you miss it? Spider Bake Sale down to the right. Come eat food made by spiders, for spiders, of spiders. Oh, I remember now. These guys were out in the dunes, too. Dunes? Rivet. I heard using F4 can make you have a full screen. Well, what does F4 stand for? 4 frogs? I've only seen a maximum of 3 frogs in it. This is troubling, to say the least. Rivet. Hold on. Migos crawled up close. I don't care! Oops. Like a lot of dune bug. Now, what happens is, he seems like an angry dude, but as soon as you spare his buddy, suddenly, you know, now that he's all alone, he's not so tough anymore. Migos doesn't have a care in the world. Gold. There's an ant-sized frog in a crack in the wall. It waves at you. Oh, that's a microfrogget. Okay. I have heard you are quite merciful for a human. Surely you know by now a monster wears a yellow name when you can spare it. What do you think of that? Very helpful. It is rather helpful. Remember, sparing is just saying you won't fight. Maybe one day you'll have to do it even if their name isn't yellow. They did get rid of the 3rd frog that was in here. Meaning there is only a maximum of 3 frogs. Meaning that one might actually be aware of the fact that the micro is in there. Vegetoid came out of the earth. Attack 5, defense 0. Serving size 1 monster. Not monitored by the USDA. Contains vitamin A. Oh. Serious smile. What if we want dinner? You pat your stomach. Vegetoid offers a healthy meal. Eat your greens. Got it. What's the deal with sentient food monsters? Zero EXP and 4 gold. Do I have enough for... Nope. Need 1 more. Need 1 more gold piece. Loops drew near. Attack 5, defense 4. Don't pick on it. Family name, Eyewalker. Loops, Eyewalker. Please don't pick on me. I just ran right into it. Just leave him alone. Or don't. It's not like I can stop you. I gotta use a freaking monster candy already. You eat the monster candy. You recover 10 HP. I've got my eye on you. Luke's is gazing. Don't. Finally, someone gets it. Luke's is gazing. Okay. Give you a donut. I kind of get the feeling that, yeah, I didn't have to use the damn monster candy at all. I could just came over here. Why did I? Oh well, it's a waste of a monster candy. It has been a while since I played this game, so. Hello? I just realized it's been a while since I've cleaned up. I was not expecting to have company so soon. There are probably a lot of things lying about here and there. You can pick them up, but do not carry more than you need. Someday you might see something you really like. You want to leave room in your pockets for them. Like, there's just one switch. Found a faded ribbon. Faded ribbon. Armor defense 1. If you're cuter, monsters won't hit you as hard. Logical. You equip the ribbon. I'm gonna leave that guy alone. Oh. Just run into another one. Okay. You pat your stomach. Vegetoid often takes healthy minutes. Eat your greens. Damn it. Ah, I missed it! Vegetoid's here for your health. Got it. Ah! We'll run into another one. If this one eats a carrot, is it cannibalism? I fell down a hole. Now I can't get up. Go on without me. Wait, ghosts can fly, can't they? Oh well. I don't remember if there's anything down here or not. Again, it's been a little bit. Oh, just a vegetoid. That's okay. That's alright. Oh, they actually have the ribbon on there. The far door is not an exit. It simply marks a rotation in perspective. Okay, this first one shouldn't have. Oh. Swing your arms, baby. I got to have a care in the world. 0 EXP and 2 gold. If you can read this, press the blue switch. There was a time where I just, like, remembered. Get the fuck out of here. Switch, press it. Of course, it wouldn't mean much for those of you who might have never played this game, right? If you could read this, press the red switch. Switch. Press it. Yes. You hear a clicking sound. Now, if you select the wrong switch, you'll drop down a hole and you go back to the beginning and you have to do the whole fucking gimmick over. So, in case you were wondering what happens. Press it. You hear a clicking sound. So that's the green switch. A pair of Vegetoids come out of the ground. better to do. Rivet. Just between you and me, and anybody in chat, anybody watching, I saw Toriel come out of here just a little while ago. He was carrying some groceries. I didn't ask what they were for. We're all too intimidated to talk to her. Rivet. You found the toy knife. Toy knife. Info. Weapon. Attack 3. Made of plastic. Rarity. Kind of a clue as to what point in time this game might be taking place. Plastic is a rarity nowadays. You equip the toy knife. Now, I will be keeping the stick. There is a particular set of enemies that the stick is very useful for. And not to attack, by the way. Oh dear, that took longer than I thought it would. How did you get here, my child? Are you hurt? There. I will heal you. I should not have left you alone for so long. It was irresponsible of me to try to surprise you like this. Well, I suppose I cannot hide it any longer. Come, small one. Seeing such a cute, tidy house in the ruins gives you determination. You smell that? Do you smell what the rock is cooking? Surprise! It is a butterscotch cinnamon pie. Or shortened, or as you will see, it is shortened to Butts Pie. We're funny. I thought we might celebrate your arrival. I want you to have a nice time living here. So I will hold off on snail pie for tonight. Escargot! Here, I have another surprise for you. This is it. A room of your own. I hope you like it. Is something burning? Make yourself at home. You've seen this type of plant before, but don't know its name. Toriel's diary. Read a circle passage. Read the passage. Why did the skeleton want a friend? Because she was feeling lonely. The rest of the page is filled with jokes of a similar caliber. Ah, the cactus, truly the most sundear of plants. Just a regular old bucket of snails. Definitely bigger than a twin-sized bed. It's an encyclopedia of subterranean plants. You open to the middle. Typha, a group of wetland flowering plants with brown oblong seed pods, known more commonly as water sausages. You peek inside. Scandalous! It's Toriel's sock drawer. Inside the drawer are flower seeds and some broken crayons. Room under renovations. It's you! It's you! Oh, it is a water sausage. These books are worn. They must have been read many times. Inside is an old calendar from the beginning of 2001X. 2016. Why don't we come down here? I think you should play upstairs instead. It is dangerous to play here. It's drafty here. You will catch a cold. It's dusty here. You will catch a cough. There's nothing to see here. It means there's something to see there. You want to read a book? I do not like the game you are playing. You don't like Undertale? That's what I'm playing. The fuck? Why not go for a walk in the yard? Really now. Okay. The ends of the tools have been filed down to make them safer. It is a history. Here's a random page. Trapped behind a barrier and fearful of further human attacks, we retreat. Far, far into the earth we walked until we reached the cavern's end. This was our new home, which we named Home. As great as our king is, he's pretty lousy at names. Okay, it's the same. I wasn't sure if they might have added something there. The fire isn't burning hot, just pleasantly warm. You can put your hand inside. Two big chairs, one small chair. For some reason, there is a brand name chocolate bar in the fridge. Give it to me. I don't think they can. There is some white fur stuck in the drain. Inside the cupboard are cookie cutters for gingerbread monsters. What a nice smell. Too hot to eat them. The stovetop is very clean. Toriel must use fire magic instead. Look at these cool toys! They don't interest you at all. Empty photo frame. It's really dusty. A box of kids' shoes in a disparity of sizes. Why would she have multiple kids' shoes in different sizes? Check this out. And the music changes to fit the mood. Take a nap. We left. You found a slice of butterscotch cinnamon pie. Smells like home. How is everybody doing tonight? It is still 100 degrees here in Bakersfield. So, you know, if anybody was interested at all, that's up already, I see. I want you to know how glad I am to have someone here. There are so many old books I want to hear. I want to show you my favorite bug hunting spot. I've also prepared a curriculum for your education. This may come as a surprise to you, but I've always wanted to be a teacher. Actually, perhaps that isn't very surprising. Still, I am glad to have you living. Oh, did you want something? What is it? When can I go home? What? This is your home now. Would you like to hear about this book I'm reading? It's called 72 Uses for Snails. How about it? Sure. Here's an exciting snail fact. Did you know that snails sometimes flip their digestive systems as they mature? Interesting. Don't bother me if you need anything else. Actually, yes. How to exit the ruins? I have to do something. Stay here. Okay. The size of the pie intimidates you too much eating. You can see where the slice has been cut out. You wish to know how to return home, do you not? Ahead of us lies the end of the ruins. A one-way exit to the rest of the underground. I am going to destroy it. No one will ever be able to leave again. Now be a good child and go upstairs. Dun, dun, dun! Eventually, I'll make like my friend Jimmy Ray, the Jimmy Ray Show, here on Twitch. In case you weren't aware, many of you that are viewing, if you're lurking, whatever, you probably are aware. That's probably how you're aware of me. But just in case, thejimmyrayShow.com. Sooner or later, I might add sound effects and stuff like that. I do have a few in mind. I just haven't really gotten around to actually doing it. So, yeah. Let's go. Hey, maybe you should do as she said. You heard them. They want to leave. You're right. Sorry, it's just... Never mind. Go get them, partner. Every human that falls down here meets the same fate. I have seen it again and again. They come. They leave. They die. You naive child. If you leave the ruins, they, Asgore, will kill you. I'm only protecting you. Do you understand? Go to your room. So, by the way, if you go to your room, just if you actually do go to your room, apparently she turns the light out. She had time to come back and turn the light out for you. But not time to actually finish what she was doing down here. Do not try to stop me. This is your final warning. Dun, dun, dun. I want to leave so badly. You're just like the others. There is only one solution to this. Prove yourself. Prove to me you are strong enough to survive. and drink cola. Yippee! I take a little bit too big of a drink. Oh. I don't need that. I do need to... Hopefully next one, because I don't see myself finishing this game here in one sitting. Especially with maybe 7 p.m. I'm going to be playing for a little while longer. But, like, I don't see myself finishing the whole thing here tonight. Toriel blocks the way. What if? Hold on. 10 attack, 10 defense, no spell. Ah! Gameplay! Toriel prepares a magical attack. Now see, if I attack her, 24. Got hit. Toriel takes a deep breath. If you try to talk to her, you couldn't think of any conversation. Ironic. Toriel is acting aloof. So what you do... upcoming spoiler in case anybody's not played this nearly 9-year-old game. Even though her name's not Yellow, even though Sparrow's not Yellow, you will not fight. Huh? Toriel looks through you. Huh? By the way, I don't want to say that it's not possible. If you get very, 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 very low on health, her attacks will intentionally not hit you. But there is a way. I'm going to see if I can pull it off. Now, there is a single frame during that in which Toriel's reaction was, she did not mean to actually kill you. Normally, when your health gets low like that, one attack will it'll drop you down to like 1 or 2 HP. Her attack will end, and then her next attacks, they will all move away from you. They will all move to the side. She's no longer trying to physically hurt you because she's never trying to actually hurt you anyway. So, just to prove the point that you can be killed by Toriel. And people have seen that frame. That frame does exist. It does exist within game. Let us continue. Chara, stay determined. Actually, it's probably more like Chara, stay determined. Now, unfortunately, that means we had to go through all this again, but I don't have to check everything. That's because we've already seen it. Right. Is something burning? Make yourself at home. So just lay down, get up, and you will have butterscotch cinnamon pie. Smells like home. Okay. Up already, I see. I want you to know how glad I am. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Education, I want to be a teacher. Still, glad to have you living here. Did you want something? When can I go home? What? This is your home now. Fuck your book. How to exit the ruins. How about an exciting snail fact? Did you know that snails do something. Stay here. We will not be staying here. No matter how fast you go, you cannot beat her down. You wish to know how to return home, do you not? Ahead of us lies a one way. I'm going to destroy it. No one will ever be able to leave. Hey, maybe you should do as she said. They want to leave, right? Every human, they come, they leave, they die. Asgore will kill you. Go to your room. Do not try to stop me. This is your final warning. Want to leave so badly? You know, just like the others. There's only one solution to this. Prove yourself. Prove to me you are strong enough to survive. Now, to be fair, Undertale Red and Yellow may have changed it where early on he may have changed it. They may have changed it to where, huh? Dude, what are you doing? See, now all her attacks will dodge. Attack her, run away. Royal looks through you. What are you proving this way? Fight me or leave! Stop it. Stop looking at me that way. Bam! I didn't actually mean to attack. Kind of fucked up there. Go away. I know you want to go home, but please, go upstairs now. See, now if you wanted to, you've broken her down. She no longer has the will to fight. If I went to fight, I can one-hit her right now. I promise I will take good care of you here. That is a betrayal finish. I know we do not have much, but we could have a good life here. Why are you making this so difficult? Please, go upstairs. Pathetic, is it not? I cannot save even a single child. No, I understand. You would just be unhappy trapped down here. The ruins are very small once you get used to them. It would not be right for you to grow up in a place like this. My expectations, my loneliness, my fear. For you, my child, I will put them aside. If you truly wish to leave the ruins, I will not stop you. However, when you leave, please do not come back. I hope you understand. Aww, the hug. Goodbye, my child. And looks back at you. And then runs away. Now, I'm not going to go all the way back, but there is a scene where if you do go all the way back, I will go all the way over here though. Chara, please. Wake up. You are the future of humans and monsters. Interesting. Also, HP fully restored. If you go all the way back to that first screen where those the flowers that you fell on, Toria will be there tending to the flowers, and she will state, somebody has to tend to these flowers. Please do not worry. Please do not worry about me. Someone has to tend to these flowers. So what we're going to do is we're going to exit the ruins and end the demo portion of the game. Which means we go into the real game now. Toria, did you know her before you... I did. Does it matter? Just curious is all. Fucking flower. Clever. Very clever. Think you're real smart, don't you? In this world, it's kill or be killed. So you were able to play by your own rules. You spared the life of a single person. I spared the life of everybody there. I bet you feel really great. You didn't kill anybody this time. But what will you do if you meet a relentless killer? You'll die and you'll die and you'll die. Until you tire of trying. What will you do then? Will you kill out of frustration? Or will you give up entirely on this world? And let me inherit the power to control it? I am the prince of this world's future. Don't worry, my little monarch. My plan isn't regicide. This is so much more interesting. Fucking flower. Undertale Red and Yellow. Mod by Shinix. Undertale Yellow by Team Undertale Yellow. Undertale by Toby Fox and Timmy Chang. Now we're out here into the forest. There's a camera hidden in the bushes. I don't believe I caught your name, disembodied voice. You're one to talk. Chara. My name is Chara. Howdy, Chara. Name's Clover. It's a tough-looking branch. It's too heavy to pick up. It's been smashed like it was nothing. That's ominous. Stay on your feet. This fucking guy. This fucking guy right here. Human. Don't you know how to greet a new pal? Turn around and shake my hand. The old whoopee cushion in the hand trick. It's always funny. Anyway, you're a human, right? It's hilarious. I'm Sam. Sam's a skeleton. I'm actually supposed to be on watch for humans right now. But, you know, I don't really care about capturing anybody. Now my brother Papyrus, He's a human hunting fanatic. Hey, actually, I think it's him over there. I have an idea. Go through this gate thingy. Yeah, go right through. My bro made the bars too wide to stop anyone. Quick, behind that conveniently shaped lamp. How convenient! It doesn't hide the back of the ribbon though. What's up, bro? You know what's up, brother? It's been 8 days and you still haven't recalibrated your puzzles. You just hang around outside your station. What are you even doing? There, get this lamp. It's really cool. You wanna look? No, I don't have time for that. What if a human comes through here? I want to be ready. I will be the one. I must be the one. I will capture a human. Then I, the Great Papyrus, will get all the things I utterly deserve. Respect, recognition. I will finally be able to join the Royal Guard. People will ask to be my friend. I will bathe in a shower of kisses every morning. Maybe this lamp will help you. Sans, you are not helping, you lazy bones. All you do is sit and boondoggle. You get lazier and lazier every day. Hey, take it easy. I've gotten a ton of work done today. A skeleton. Sans, come on, you're smiling. I am, and I hate it. Why does someone as great as me have to do so much just to get some recognition? It bees like that. Wow, sounds like you're really working yourself down to the bone. Yeah, I will attend to my puzzles. As for your work, put a little more backbone into it. Okay, you can come out now. You ought to get going. He might come back. And if he does, you'll have to sit through more of my hilarious jokes. Actually, hey, hate to bother you, but can you do me a favor? I was thinking, my brother's been kind of down lately. And he's never seen a human before, and seeing you might just make his day. And don't worry, he's not dangerous, even if he tries to be. Thanks a million, and I'll be up ahead. It's some sort of checkpoint or sentry station, but there are bottles of ketchup, mustard, and relish sitting inside. Hot dogs! Those two are a lot. A lot of monsters are like that. You'll get used to it. Right. The convenience of that lamp still fills you with determination. This is a box. You can put an item inside or take an item out. The same box will appear later, so don't worry about coming back. Sincerely, a box lover. Use the box. We'll put butterscotch pie away, and the spider donut, and the bandage. I'll take out the tough glove. Tough glove. Weapon, attack 5. A worn pink leather glove for 5-fingered folk. No. Wait a minute, tough glove. You equip tough glove. Snowdrake flutters forward. Snowdrake. Attack 6, defense 2. This teen comedian fights to keep a captive audience. Better not snowflake out! Canadian? You laugh at Snowdrake's fun. See? Laugh! Dad was wrong! Snowdrake is pleased with his cool joke. You can spare it. It's a fishing rod affixed to the ground. Reel it in. All that's attached to the end is a photo of a weird-looking monster. Call me! Here's my number! You decide not to call. Send the line back out. The convenience of that lamp still fills you with determination. So, as I was saying about Undyne, Giants, oh my god, is that a human? Actually, I think there's a rock. Oh. Hey, what's in front of the rock? Oh my god! Is that a human? Yes. Oh my god! Sans, I finally did it! Undyne will... I'll be so popular! 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 And yes, that hurts the fuck out of my throat to do that. Human, you shall not pass this area. I, the Great Papyrus, will stop you. I will then capture you. You will be delivered to the capital. Then, I'm not really sure what's next. In any case, continue. Only if you dare. Yeah, well, that went well. And don't sweat it, kid. I'll keep an eye socket out for you. Ring, ring. Oh my god, help. I'd like to order, a pizza. Yo, I got a fun event already? So, for those who may not know, fun events, are random shiz that can happen during the game. One very popular character, a character that is extremely popular given the fact that he barely appears in the fucking game. And by the way, I didn't actually just try to rip off Super Eye Patch Wolf, but shout out to Super Eye Patch Wolf. Not like you're gonna see this, but you know, I could be wrong. It could happen. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily trying to bite what he said, but it's pretty much almost exactly what he said. So yeah, Super Eye Patch Wolf. He's also on Twitch. You've probably heard him come across his videos. Anyway, with the toppings are I have them copied. I'll just paste them to you. Your phone is too old to receive texts. It reads out loud, character by character, an assy art of an anime cat girl. Click. There's some narration on this cardboard box. You observe the well-crafted sentry station. Who could have built this, you ponder? I bet it was that very famous royal guardsman. No, not yet a very famous royal guardsman. Icecap struts into view. Icecap, attack 6, defense 0. This teen wonders why it isn't named Ice Hat. Snow? No, it's hat residue. Cowboy hats are cooler. Oh, is that a pun? Cooler. I get you. So if you try to compliment, you inform Icecap that it has a great hat. Duh! Who doesn't know? Ice Cap also wants a hat for its nose. You managed to tear your eyes away from Ice Cap's hat. It looks annoyed. Hello? My hat's up here. Ice Cap is secretly checking if you're looking at his hat. You continue not looking at Ice Cap's hat. It seems defeated. Fine, I don't care. Ah! Got hit by one. Ice Cap is desperate for attention. 13 gold. Convenience of that lamp, but yeah. Now there is another route to this game called, well, there's two other routes. There's the neutral route where you just kind of play it like a normal RPG, and depending on how you do it. I don't know with this particular mod. I know in regular Undertale there's like 93 endings, but like the vast majority of them are just kind of different, like slightly different versions of the neutral route. And then there's the genocide route, where you hunt, seek, and destroy every fucking buddy. It's a very popular route given the fact that it's, frankly, it's almost unsatisfying to play. For the most part. There are a couple of very special battles that can only take place during that route, though, and those are fun, if maddening. Excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me. Would you have any Grey Poupon? Absolutely no moving. Did something move? Was it my imagination? I can only see moving things. If something was moving, for example, a human, I'll make sure it never moves again. Doggo blocks the way. Attack 6, defense 1. Easily excited by movement. Hobbies include squirrels. Don't move an inch. You got it, pal. Doggo can't seem to find anything. You pet Doggo. What? I've been pet. Pet, pat, pot, pet, pat, pot, pot, pet, pat, pot. Doggo has been pet. You pet Doggo. Where is that coming from? Pet, pat, pet, pot, pet, pat. Doggo has been pet. You pet Doggo. There's no end to it. Pet, pat, pet, pot, pet, pet, pot. You pet Doggo. Well, this is thorough. Pet, pat, pet, pot, pet, pet, pot. You pet Doggo. Okay, that's enough. Zero EXP and 30. Something pet me. Something that is moving. I'm gonna need some dog treats for this. Hello? Is anybody there? No? Are you two playing a trick on me? Real funny. Big guy? Is that you? Come on. Well, not the tall skeleton. He's too loud. Whoever you are, knock it off! Someone's been smoking dog treats. Hey, here's something important to remember. My brother has a very special attack. If you see a blue attack, don't move and it won't hurt you. Kind of like what happened in the last battle. Here's an easy way to keep it in mind. Imagine a stop sign. When you see a stop sign, you stop, right? Stop signs are red, so imagine a blue stop sign instead. Simple, right? When fighting, think about blue stop signs. They added many, many, many more colors to the text. I like it. Whee! North, ice. South, ice. West, ice. East, Snowden Town. And ice. Hello, I am a snowman. I want to see the world, but I cannot move. If you would be so kind, traveler, please, take a piece of me and bring it very far away. Thank you. Good luck. You got the snowman piece. How am I doing? By I mean the piece of meat I give you. Now, you could be a real jerk and eat the snowman piece right there in front of him. If you happen to eat the snowman piece later on, you can come back and get an additional piece. Genocide route, well, we'll have to see if we're gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna bother playing that route, but we'll see. What I am going to do right now, use the box, yes. Snowman piece, put it away. Huh. That was weird. That thing was supposed to be involved in a battle right there, but we ran off screen too fast. So lazy. You were napping all night. I think that's called sleeping. Excuses. Oh ho, the human arrives. In order to stop you, my brother and I have created some puzzles. I think you will find this one quite shocking. For you see, this is the invisible electricity base. When you touch the walls of this base, this orb will administer a hearty zap. Sound like fun? Because the amount of fun you will probably have is actually rather small, I think. Okay, you can go ahead now. Sans, what did you do? I think the human has to hold the orb. Oh, okay. Hold this, please. Okay, try now. Like I said, that does kind of hurt my throat to do that voice, but... Incredible, you slippery snail. You solved it so easily. Too easily. However, the next puzzle will not be so easy. It is designed by my brother, Sans. You will surely be confounded. I know I am. Hey, thanks. My brother seems like he's having fun. By the way, did you see that weird outfit he's wearing? He made that a few weeks ago for a costume party. He hasn't worn anything else since. Keeps calling it his battle butt. Man, isn't my brother cool? I don't understand why these aren't selling. It's the perfect weather for something cold. Oh, a customer! Hello. Would you like some ice cream? It's the frozen treat that warms your heart. Now just 15G. I'll take one. Here you go. Have a super duper day. You got the ice cream. Ice cream. It's the frozen treat that warms your heart. Now just 15G. I'll take another one, sure. Here you go. Have a super duper day. You got the ice cream. Okay, I'm gonna leave a space here, but I've been thinking about selling treats too. Want some fried snow? It's just 5G. Did I say 5G? I meant 50G. Really? How about 5,000G? 50,000G, that's my final offer. What? You don't have the money? Hey, that's okay. I'll have any snow. His. Hers. Smell danger rating. Snow smell, snowman. White rating. Can become yellow rating. Unsuspicious smell. Puppy. Blue rating. Smell of rolling around. Weird smell. Humans. Green rating, even though it's in red. Destroy at all costs. We played ball. Go that way, damn you. You're going the wrong way. Purple. Even when you felt trapped, you took notes and achieved the end of ball. You are awarded 2G. There's a camera hidden inside this lump of snow. It looks like a snowball. Actually, it's a snowdecahedron. Human, I hope you're ready for it. Sans, where's the puzzle? It's right there, on the ground. Trust me, there's no way they can get past this one. Yo, we got Nightmare. So that's 2 fun events. Sans, that didn't do anything! Whoops. I know I should have used today's crossword instead. What? Crossword? I can't believe you said that! In my opinion, Junior Jumble is easily the hardest. What? Really? Dude, that easy peasy word scramble? That's what baby bone. Unbelievable. Human! Solve this dispute. Which is harder, jumble or crossword? I would say crossword. But we're gonna be nice. We're gonna be nice to Papyrus because he's Papyrus. Ha! Ha! Yes! Humans must be very intelligent, because they also find Junior Jumble so difficult. And thanks for saying Junior Jumble just to appease my brother. Yesterday he got stumped trying to solve the horoscope. You don't really think Junior Jumble is harder, right? I mean, they're right, aren't they? You two are morons. It's a note from Papyrus. Jukedeck, please enjoy this spaghetti. Little do you know, this spaghetti is a trap designed to entice you. You'll be so busy eating it that you won't realize you aren't progressing. Thoroughly japed again by the great Papyrus. Yeah, Papyrus. It's a plate of frozen spaghetti. It's so cold, it's stuck to the table. It's an unplugged microwave. All the settings say spaghetti. Hey. Knowing the mouse might one day find a way to heat up the spaghetti, it fills you with determination. Alright, what time it is? 7:37. I'm going to play for a little bit more. Warning. Dog marriage. Yes, you read that correctly. Ice Cap and Snowdrake confront you. Jerry. Jerry. Fucking Jerry. You and the other monsters ditch Jerry while it looks away. I just love my hat, okay? Fight you in cold blood. Comedian. You laugh at Snowdrake's pun. Where's your hat? Right here, buddy. Snowdrake is pleased with its cool joke. Guys, it's cold. Does anyone care? No, not particularly. Return of Jerry. You managed to tear your eyes away from Ice Cap's hat. It looks annoyed. Though my hat's up here. What are we doing this? What a fail. Turn of Jerry. You continue not looking at Ice Cap's hat. It seems to be. Okay, I'll ignore you too. Why are we doing this? What a fail. Jerry, you exist. That's a fail. So, like, what are you even doing? The Wi-Fi here sucks. You and the other monsters ditch Jerry when it looks away. You won. 0 EXP and 25 gold. There's a switch hidden in the snow. Click. How would I have ever known that? What's this? A map? Yeah, just let you know where the switch is. Alright. Boss fight. What's that smell? Where's that smell? If you hear a smell, identify your smell. Here's that weird smell. Makes me want to eliminate. Eliminate you. Doggy assault you. You roll around in the dirt and snow. You smell like a weird puppy. Take my wife's fleas. Don't, actually. The dogs may want to re-smell you. The dogs sniff you. After rolling in the dirt, you smell alright. What? Smells like a... Are you actually a little puppy? The dogs think you might be a lost puppy. You pet the dog Aressa. A dog that pets dogs? Amazing! Okay, that was the... Wow, pet by another pup. Well, don't leave me out. Dogs' minds have been expanded. 0 EXP and 40 gold. Dogs can pet other dogs? A new world has opened up for us. Thanks, weird puppy. Yes, I just did that. From every X to an O, then press the switch. What? How did you avoid my trap? And more importantly, is there any left for me? What do you tell Papyrus about his spaghetti? Really? Wowie! You resisted the flavor of my home-cooked pasta. Just so you could share it with me? Fret not, human. I, Master Chef Papyrus, will make you all the pasta you could ever want. My brother started a sock collection recently. How sad. Sometimes I wonder what he would do without such a cool guy taking care of him. Human. How do I say this? You were taking a long time to arrive, so I decided to improve this puzzle by arranging the snow to look more like my face. Unfortunately, the snow froze to the ground. Now the solution is different. And as usual, my lazy brother is nowhere around. I suppose what I'm saying is, worry not, human. I, the great Papyrus, will solve this conundrum. Then we can both proceed. Meanwhile, feel free to try the puzzle yourself. I'll try not to give away the answer. There's a switch on the trunk of this tree. Press it. So, you want a hint, huh? Well, I've been looking at the puzzle, and I think the solution is to turn all the X's into O's. You should try that. Let's get again for more great hits. Yeah, about that though. You know that switch I just hit? It did nothing. Okay. Never mind. Nah, I fucked up. No, fucked it up again. Fucked it up again. Fucked up again. I gotta get used to controlling this shit with a fucking keyboard for one. I first played this game on Nintendo Switch. Wow, you solved it. My advice helped. It really helped you. Incredible. I'm impressed. You must care about puzzles like I do. Well, I'm sure you'll love the next puzzle then. It might even be too easy for you. Yeah. Good job of solving it so quickly. You didn't even need my help. Which is great, because I love doing absolutely nothing. Same, bro. Same here. I love doing nothing. But sometimes, you gotta play game. And sometimes when you play game, sometimes you gotta stream. You gotta stream sometimes when you play game because you got to. That's why. Hey, it's the human. Sure kinda love this puzzle. It was made by the great Dr. Alfie. You see these tiles? Once I throw this switch, they will begin to change color. Each color has a different function. Red tiles are impassable. You cannot walk on them. Yellow tiles are electric. They will electrocute you. Green tiles are alarm tiles. If you step on them, you will have to fight a monster. Orange tiles are orange scented. They will make you smell delicious. Blue tiles are water tiles. Swim through if you like, but if you smell like oranges, the piranhas will bite you. Also, if a blue tile is next to a yellow tile, the water will also zap you. Purple tiles are slippery. You will slide to the next tile. However, the slippery soap smells like lemons, which piranhas do not like. Purple and blue are okay. Finally, pink tiles. They don't do anything. Step on them all you like. How was that? Understand? I do, but no. Okay, I guess I'll repeat myself. Red tiles are impassable. Yellow tiles are electric and dangerous. Blue tiles make you fight a monster. No, they don't. Green tiles are water tiles. Orange tiles are orange scented. If you step on orange, don't step on green. Brown tiles are... Wait, there are no brown tiles. Purple tiles smell like lemons. Why don't yellow ones smell lemony? Wait, did I mix up green and blue? Blue ones are water ones. Pink tiles. I don't remember. Wait, those ones don't do anything. Okay, you understand better now? Sure. Totally got it that time. Great. Then there's one last thing. This puzzle is entirely random. When I pull this switch, it will make a puzzle that has never been seen before. Not even I will know the solution. Get ready. Fuck it, I'm out. Actually, it's spaghetti from earlier. It wasn't too bad for my brother. Since he started cooking lessons, he's been improving a lot. I bet if he keeps it up next year, he'll even make something edible. You've been quiet for a while. Huh? Oh, sorry, it's just... He reminds me of someone. I see. Wait. This dog is staring blankly into the snow, waiting for it to turn into art. We never fought Lesser Dog, huh? Crazy. On the floor inside is a box of Pomeranians. Aware of dog. Please pet dog. We never fought Lesser Dog. Kamikaze is playing. Okay. Shout out to Kamikaze. Knowing that dog will never give up trying to make the perfect snow dog, it fills you with determination. Well, there's a couple of different jokes about Lesser Dog. I guess we can't really do now because a dog considers itself an artist, but doesn't ever know what to create. It probably doesn't help that its brain is the size of a piece of kibble. Playing this the fucking keyboard. It's a lump of snow with the word Sans written on it in red marker. It's a snow papyrus. go. Like, it's not too hard playing it with a keyboard. It's just, I'm just not used to using a keyboard. Hold on. Hey, what's up? Say, are you following me? Gift Trot confronts you. Gift Trot. Attack 7, defense 3. Some teens decorated it as a prank. Don't put any more on me. Gift Trot eyes you with suspicion. You remove the lenticular bookmark of a smug teen wink. That's a little better. Remove a stocking filled with chicken nuggets. Remove a small, confused dog. A weight has been lifted. You give 35G because you can't think of an appropriate gift. Oh, you shouldn't have. What the fuck? Hello? Okay, this is a new fun event. Is anybody there? Where am I? I'm so cold. Okay, a new fun event, a new gunner for it's a door. There is a way. Glide! Yo! Okay. You do nothing. No effect. Shit. Yo! Okay. Glide is a... Are you really going... No. You're better than that. Ah, shit. Glide's a secret character that I think you have to have a fun event. I guess all fun events are unlocked? I'm not sure. That should make an interesting little meeting there in Waterfall. A meeting that I personally have never encountered. You can you can encounter it 1 in 1,000 playthroughs, or if you just hack the fucking game. It's kind of hard to hack the Nintendo Switch version, though. You know what I'm saying? Are you there? Where am I? I'm so cold. Glide. Glide swooped in. You clap really sloppily. Glide sucks up your praise like a vacuum cleaner. Okay, I rule, I admit it. God damn. Oh, check out my pecs. Nice. Give yourself a high five. Clap like a gorilla. Clyde is becoming addicted to your praise. What else do you have to say? You boo. But haters only make Clyde stronger. Ah, shit. Boo, what a wimpy ghost. Are you really going? No, you're better than that. Shit. Chara, please don't give up. Have some determination. That's different. Okay, shit. I think we're gonna skip Glide for now because Glide is fucking optional. We may come back later to it. It would be different if I didn't have to do all this other shit. See, we are coming up on 2 hours. I don't know. I mean, Gift Trot technically is also optional. Oh shit. Particular bookmark. It has been lit. Okay. We get 20 gold instead of giving. It's a snow pop. And this is a snow pop. This, however, is a snow pop. Surprisingly, it's a snow pop. What a tiny doghouse. Wolf. Snow puff. Is it really a snow puff? Behold, a snow puff. Yeah? There's 30G inside this. What is this? Alright, boss fight. Oh shoot. Oh wait, no. Wait. I still have the stick on me. It's the greater dog. You threw the stick and the dog ran to get it. You played fetch for a while. Ah, shit. The Royal Guard sure chooses weird candidates. Using the stick is an easy way to defeat any of the dog-based. I could have done that with the Doggeressa and Dogamy. I could have done that with Doggo. This is your final and most dangerous challenge. Behold, the Gauntlet of Deadly Terror. Especially the dog there at the end. When I say the word, it will fully activate. Cannons will fire, spikes will swing, blades will slice. Each part will swing violently up and down. Only the tiniest chance of victory will remain. Are you ready? Because I am about to do it! Well, what's the holdup? Hold up? What holdup? I'm about to activate it now! That doesn't look very activated. Well, this challenge, it seems, maybe too easy to defeat a human with. Yeah, can't do this one. I'm a skeleton with standards. My puzzles are very fair, and my traps are expertly cooked. But this method is too direct, no class at all. Away it goes. What are you looking at? This was another decisive victory for Papyrus. Yeah. 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 I don't know what my brother's gonna do now. If I were you, I would make sure I understand blue attacks. In a certain other route, he would ask, he would let you know, if you continue down that path, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time. You might not have heard me say it at first, because again, like I said, doing Papyrus's voice does kind of fuck my throat. So, welcome to Snowden Town. Shop. The sight of such a friendly town fills you with determination. Hello, traveler. How can I help you? It's QC. Manly bandana. Cinnamon bun. And thanks for your purchase. Oh. Hiya. Welcome to Snowden. I can't remember the last time I saw a fresh face around here. Where did you come from? Capital? You don't look like a tourist. Are you here by yourself? You want to know what to do here in Snowden? Gilby's has food, and the library has information. If you're tired, you can take a nap at the inn. It's right next door. My sister runs it. And if you're bored, you can sit outside and watch those wacky skeletons do their thing. There's two of them. Brothers, I think. Who showed up one day and asserted themselves. The town's gotten a lot more interesting since then. Town history. Think back to your history class. A long time ago, monsters lived in the ruins back there in the forest. Long story short, we all decided to leave the ruins and head for the end of the caverns. Along the way, some fuzzy folk decided they liked the cold and set up camp in Snowden. Oh, and don't think about trying to explore the ruins. The door's been locked for ages, so unless you're a ghost or can burrow under the door, forget about it. Your life? Life is the same as usual. A little claustrophobic, but we all know deep down that freedom is coming, don't we? As long as we got that hope, we can grit our teeth and face the same struggles day after day. That's life, ain't it? See you, QC. By the way, for several years of NBA 2K, I I would normally play as a created team, right? So I would create a team, and I would put them here. They are the Snowden Sands. So if you ever wondered, if you've ever seen my old, and I'm talking about my fucking old streams, and wondered where the source of the Snowden Sands, it's from this game in this town. Manly bandana. Armor, defense 2. It has some wear on it. It has abs drawn on it. My current defense is 1 with a faded ribbon, so manly bandana. Use. You equip manly bandana. Still has me wearing a ribbon. Use the box. Faded ribbon. Hold on. Oh, okay. Tough glove. And, okay. So, put the point. No, wait. I want to use the toy knife. I think. Got 10. Oh, okay. Never mind. There we go. There's the bandana. Looking like Rambo. Mom says that sleeping can recover your health above maximum HP. What's maximum HP? Welcome to Snowed Inn, Snowden's premier hotel. One night is 80G. You don't even have 80G? Oh, you poor thing. I can only imagine what you've been through. One of the rooms upstairs is empty. You can sleep there for free, okay? Hiya, you look like you had a great sleep, which is incredible because you were only up there for about 2 minutes. Feel free to come back if you get tired. As you can see, I am now my HP 30 of 20. The only person I have would be Toriel's phone. For the rest of the game, dialing. Nobody picked up. So, sadly, for the rest of the game, that lady over there, something about her disturbed me. Isn't my little cinnamon just the cutest? Bun buns are so adorable. You are a bun bun. Awful teens tormented a local monster by decorating its tree-like horns. So we started giving that monster presents to make it feel better. Now it's a tradition to put presents underneath a decorated tree. Yo! You're a kid too, right? I can tell because you're wearing a striped shirt. That's how you can tell somebody's a kid. That's true. This town doesn't have a mayor, but if there's ever a problem, a skeleton will tell official lady about it. That's politics! No matter where I go, it's the same menu, the same people. Help! I want new drinks and hot guys. Isn't human food different from monster food? It does things like spoil. And when you eat it, it passes all the way through your whole body. Disgusting. I'd love to try it sometime. Better watch where you sit down in here, kid. Because that big guy will jump in your lap and give you lots of love and attention. For centuries, but we never get any respect. I wish those skeletons would throw us a bone. I love bones. I'm thinking of getting a spike collar to show off my personality. It makes a statement like, attach a leash to me and take me for a walk, please. It's playing poker against itself. It appears to be losing. I put out a line for some girls today. Someone told me there are plenty of fish in the sea. Well, I'm taking that seriously. I'm literally going to make out with a fish. That's probably that line from earlier, right? Those dogs are part of the Royal Guard, the elite military group led by Undyne. She's rude, loud, and beats up everybody who gets in her way. It's no wonder all the kids want to be like her when they grow up. Grilbs says that he'd offer you a glass of water, but he doesn't touch the stuff. Understandable. The capital's getting pretty crowded, so I've heard they're going to start moving here. I don't want to see the erasure of our local culture, but I definitely want to see some city slickers slip on their butts. The jukebox is broken. Everyone is always laughing and cracking jokes, trying to forget our modern crisis. Dreariness, crowdy, lack of sunlight. I would join them, but I'm just not very funny. I can relate, bro. I can relate. Same. We all know the underground has problems, but we smile anyway. Why? We can't do anything, so why be morose about it? True. Let's play monsters and humans. You aren't gonna make me be the human again, are you? To be young again. The world sure felt boundless. What a beautiful knock. Maybe if I don't answer, I'll hear it again. My patience rewarded. Ice Wolf. No, wrong number song, okay. So we don't get all the fun events, which, I mean, I guess is good. Library. Welcome to the library. Yes, we know the sign is misspelled. So Luke, that look in your eye. You're someone that has difficulty solving junior jumble, aren't you? I love working on the newspaper. There's so little to report that we just fill it with comics and games. When I was younger, my teachers gave me word searches when they ran out of assignments. I thought they were a waste of time. But look at me now. I'm the #1 word search creator in the entire underground. Monster History Part 4. Well, okay. Let's start from here. It's a school report about monster funerals. Monster funerals, technically speaking, are cool as heck. When monsters get old and kick the bucket, they turn into dust. At funerals, we take that dust and spread it onto that person's favorite thing. Then their essence will live on in that thing. Am I at the page minimum yet? I'm kind of sick of writing this. That's me in school. While monsters are made of magic, human beings are made mostly of water. Humans, with their physical forms, are far stronger than us, but they will never know the joy of expressing themselves through magic. They'll never get a bullet pattern birthday card. Here I am, writing this book. A person comes in and picks up the book. They started reading it. Oh, sorry, I'm still writing that one. Because they are made of magic, monsters' bodies are attuned to their soul. If a monster doesn't want to fight, its defenses will weaken. And the crueler the intentions of our enemies, the more their attacks will hurt us. Therefore, if a being with a powerful soul struck with a desire to kill, let's end the chapter here. Monster History, Part 4. Fearing the humans no longer, we moved out of our old city, home. We braved harsh cold, damp swampland, and searing heat, until we reached what we now call our capital, New Home. Again, our king is really bad at names. Love, hope, compassion. This is what people say monster souls are made of. But the absolute nature of soul is unknown. After all, humans have proven their souls don't need these things to exist. Facts. This is nothing, okay. Library. It's a mailbox overflowing with unread junk mail. This mailbox is labeled Papyrus. Look inside. It's empty. It's locked. Locked. It's locked from the inside. Alright, we're coming up on a boss fight, and after this boss fight, I think we will end the stream for the night. This is a fight against Papyrus. Human. Allow me to tell you some complex feelings. Feelings like the joy of finding another boss to fight, the admiration for another's puzzle-solving skills, the desire to have a cool, smart person think you are cool. These feelings, they must be what you are feeling right now. I can hardly imagine what it must be like to feel that way. After all, I am very rich. I don't ever wonder what having lots of friends is like. I pity you, lonely human. Worry not! You shall be lonely no longer. I, the great Papyrus, will be your... Excuse me. No, this is all wrong. I can't be your friend. You are a human. I must capture you. Then I can fulfill my lifelong dream. Powerful, popular, prestigious. That's Papyrus, the newest member of the Royal Guard. Papyrus blocks the way. Papyrus. Attack 12, defense 12. He likes to say, yeah. Papyrus prepares a non-bone attack, then spends a minute fixing his mistake. Now, I'm going to show you something, in case you haven't seen before. No. Papyrus is trying hard to play it cool. Papyrus is cackling. I'll stop listening. You want me to feel better about fighting you? I don't deserve such hospitality from you. You're too weak. I was easily able to capture you. I will now send you to the capture zone. Or, as Sans calls it, our garage. You're in the doghouse now. So he doesn't actually kill you. It's a note from Papyrus. Sorry, I have to lock you in the guest room until Undyne arrives. Feel free to make yourself at home. Refreshments and accommodations have been provided. Fully yours, Papyrus. Unfortunately, it's just dry food. It's a squeaky chew toy. It's too small to sleep on. His bro made the bars too small to stop anybody. Just walk right on through. L'Oreal's phone. Nobody picked up. Right back over here. Go right back into the inn. Back again. Well, stay as long as you like. How about it? Stay. Here's your room key. Make sure to bundle up. Alright, so this time around we will actually finish the Papyrus fight. And then we'll save. And then we'll call it stream. Now, by the way, you can do that multiple times and get captured by Papyrus. If you get captured multiple times, Papyrus will just stop attacking you. And then you can just go on without actually fighting Papyrus. Oh, where could that human have gone? Wait, it's right in front of me. Hello. I was worried you'd gotten lost. It sure is a relief to know that you're right here. I'm going to have to take one of these because, again, this does kill my fucking throat to do this voice. Wait a second. You're not supposed to escape. Get back there! Insult. Papyrus is too busy fighting to accept your insult. I don't deserve such hospitality from you. Oh, it just jumped straight to the blue. Okay, well, that kind of... I didn't know it was going to go straight to turning your heart blue. So now that your heart is blue, it basically makes it a sort of a platformer. Oh, hi, can you jump? Smells like bones. Yeah, don't make me use my special attack. Good. I can almost taste my future popularity. Papyrus, head of the Royal Guard. Yeah, Undyne might have something to say about that, but... Unparalleled spaghetti. And I will be really proud of you. Whispers. The king will trim a hedge in the shape of my smile. My brother, well, he won't change very much. We know how to use a monster candy. It's, again, playing this with the freaking, I have lots of admirers, but playing this with the freaking, keyboard is different. The timing's different. It's not really, but it feels different. How will I know if people sincerely like me? Shit. Very unliquid. Covered. Someone like you is really rare. I don't think they'll let you go. After you're captured and sent away. Who cares? Give up. Bruh. Give up or face my special attack. Fuck. Too long and I will use that special attack. Okay. This is your last chance to perform my special attack. I really wish I could use a controller right now. I would be getting hit by none of this shit. Behold, my special attack. The annoying dog. What the heck? That's my special attack. Hey, you stupid dog. Do you hear me? Stop munching on that bone. Hey, what are you doing? Come back here with my special attack. Oh well. Now let's use a really cool regular attack. Here goes an absolutely normal attack. I can't believe I can't fucking, dude, I gotta figure out a mod or some shit that's gonna let me use my fucking controller. Because I have played Undertale on PC with a controller. This controller, in fact. This exact controller. This time I've upgraded the facilities. Not only will you be trapped, but you won't even want to leave. Please ask before you escape. When you went missing, I got worried sick. Slightly bone-frazzled. Papyrus. There's a hot dog cut up in the kibble. Bruh. Back again, eh? I suppose it's my fault. I told you before I would make you spaghetti. It's only natural you would want to see me. In a dire hope I would make you some. Well, I understand. Papyrus is hungry too. Hungry for justice. You know what? I might just go out this way. Just go ahead and hit me, bro. You're persistent, but this won't work on me. I am the persistent statistic. Grammatically wrong, because the correct form would be not as persistent as the virus. This does not bode well for future future encounters, however, because hopefully just whatever, just it will actually work with the... I'm not sure I could fight someone who feels this way, but mostly I'm getting really tired of capturing you. Bye, Papyrus. Okay, I guess I'll accept my failure. No! I can't even stop someone as weak as you. And that's gonna be disappointed in me. I can't keep this voice up, guys. I'll never join the Royal Guard, and my friend quantity will remain stagnant. What should you say? Really? You want to be friends with me? Well then, I guess I can make an allowance for you. Wow, I have friends. Who knew all I needed to make them was to give people awful puzzles and then play them? You taught me a lot, Gibbon. I hereby grant you permission to pass through, and I'll give you directions to the surface. Continue forward until you reach the cavern. Then, when you reach the capital, cross the barrier. That's the magical seal trapping us all underground. Anything can enter through it, but nothing can exit. Except someone with a powerful soul, like you. That's why the king wants to acquire a human. He wants to open the barrier with soul power. Then its monsters can return to the surface. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. To reach the exit, you will have to pass through the king's castle. The king of all monsters. He is, well, he's a big fuzzy pushover. Everybody loves that guy. I am certain if you just say, "Excuse me, Mr. Dreamer, can I please go home?" he'll guide you right to the barrier himself. Anyway, that's enough talking. I'll be at home being a cool friend. feel free to come by and hang out. Alright, so we're gonna go back over here. We're gonna go to the save point. And that is gonna be the end of stream, ladies and gentlemen. I will choose somebody here to raid out to. But yes, we will be back. Most likely I will be back. I'm gonna try Thursday. Well, no, Thursday morning doesn't work, does it? Thursday morning doesn't work schedule-wise for me. Saturday morning we'll be back here with more Undertale Red and Yellow. So until then, I want to thank everybody for coming by, and whenever, wherever, however you are watching this, I appreciate you. Thank you for doing so. Appreciate you so much. My name is Joseph, and we are out this.